Well, welcome everyone to this week's Free Tuesday training. And so we're going to get going with this. Jim is going to be our presenter today. Jim is a daredevil and an expert on SEO. And he also is going to talk to us about Google, I'm sure, because he always has to mention Google somewhere. And so today we're going to be talking about ranking your videos for Google. So Jim, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Boyd. And hopefully in my presentation, there'll be at least one slide that proves that I'm a daredevil. So we'll have to go from there. But I want to turn on a PowerPoint for you guys, if I can find it. There it is. Okay, you guys should see that full screen. Changing the format of my presentations.
We do not see it yet.
Can you see it?
Nope.
Can you see that?
I don't.
Well, let me share. How would that be?
Yeah, why don't you share it? That ought to be a good idea. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Now go ahead and start your slides.
There you go.
Okay, got it.
Got it. Very cool. As you may have noticed over the last couple of presentations, I have changed the format of my slide for this coming year. I got a little tired of the one last year, so I made some upgrades. But today's class is going to be on optimizing your video or video optimization. And we're going to talk a little tiny bit about how to rank your video. Moving along, this is my credentials. You know, owned a business since for 15 years, the social media business. Before that, it was web hosting. Before that, it was web design. Worked my way through a variety of different methodologies of core counseling and the Davis Developmental Center, some ELP leadership positions, and so on. So I'm kind of uniquely qualified to actually hold the mantle, if you will, and keep this thing called the internet moving forward. So Boyd always mentions this, and this is the slide I always have a tough time changing, but it shows some of my skydiving adventures. It shows my adventures with wildlife and bears in my garage and moose crossing my front porch, and been to multiple solar eclipses, a student of the universe and Buddha, and been to England, or to Africa, excuse me, and lived in Hawaii for a year, so you can, or a couple of years, so you can kind of see that's all a little bit of my life. That makes me melancholy when I watch that too much. So anyway, so today's presentation is on how to optimize your video. So I figured I better play a video before we get into the nuts and bolts of how it all works. And the long and short of the story today is that we want to make your video crawlable. And when I started down the process, and it's true in this case as it is in most cases, we start with something reasonably simplistic, and it becomes out of control reasonably quickly. So what happens is, this is kind of where the instructions started to go. And when I could see that I was going to have 30 or 35 sets of instructions, I decided to take a little bit better track or path, if you will. But these are all of the things, or at least half of the things that you need to rank a video online. So I didn't want people to get caught in that trap of having to read much into everything. So I took a few minutes last evening, and although the other stuff is architecturally correct, what I wanted to do is have kind of an informal conversation. And so we're talking about video, and each video page needs to have unique content. That's a little bit of a theme that runs through the course today. You can't have a lot of duplicate content. Why would somebody watch a video about changing a spark plug if they just watched a video about changing a spark plug? Each one of the videos needs to be compelling on its own, and in fact, have a message or have some content that's worthwhile and meaningful to the end user. The use of keywords inside of a blog is strongly suggested. And, people struggle with keywords all the time. To me, I guess they're second nature. They're kind of like the Dewey Decimal System of how to find your way around the internet. And so on the one side, I have a picture of a great old Dewey Decimal card catalog. Now on the other one, I have today a picture of, it would actually be considered movable type. I think maybe Boyd and myself might be the only ones in the room that actually recognize it, but it is movable type, and you're able to make keywords and print keywords out of that text, that jumble of text that we have on the left. But it's really, really important. And I had a meeting with one of my clients, Scott Leifer, this morning, and we've been with him for 3 months, and we finally got down to the keyword research. And I've been hounding him and hounding him and hounding him and saying, this should be the first thing that we do, not the 10th thing that we do. And so we finally sat down and went through it, the list, and it's measurable in the sense that, how many searches does it get a month? How many pay-per-click ads are running for it? There's a lot of different factors that we can compile, into the ascertaination of that one keyword. So do you want to ascertain that keyword or not? So think about it, and keywords should be a big part of your page. This is something that, as I dug into it quite a bit deeper, it struck me as odd that people wouldn't actually have spent some time on their page that renders the blog. So there's still a lot of things that you can do as far as meta descriptions and meta tags and content, and so that you can actually do what we call SEO on a video page. And I know a doctor, he's a colleague, a friend of mine, and he does his own SEO, but he kind of gets a charge out of it. But he does videos, and his videos almost exclusively rank #1. And he does it in a couple of different fashions. He does it in a couple of different languages. But in either case, he takes a script. And I think Boyd's been a proponent of using BigQ, where you write a script, put it right there on your screen, and then you can read it, and it looks like you're talking into the screen. It looks like you're talking into an individual. It looks like you're compelling. There's been some significant research as of late that say that the perfectly held, captured from a tripod video is a little bit less real than the guy that's kind of moving around and has the shakes and had too much coffee or something this morning. But it generally says that that kind of client is a little bit more believable. So we want to actually use them with a script and with a kind of a jiggly format, if you can get away with it. And in your script, you still need to embed those keywords. You have to do on-page SEO anyway. You might as well do it with on-page keywords. Now, this is one that kind of startles people. And it says the video index must be the first to load on the page. So if you have a picture like on the right, and it's really clear that you're loading the page and really clear that it's good, clear content, or you're loading the picture on the right and it's pretty clear that it's discombobulated and messy, and Google's gonna have to spend a little bit of time and energy to figure out what it's all about. Don't you think that the best way to display your videos would be to have them index first and be concise and clear on what it is that they're going to be pointing to? Now, this is something that is long been a contention with me and one of my programmers, and his name happens to be Jason, by the way. I don't know if there's any kudos that go out there, but this recommendation that I found includes the schema data as instruction would entail that you put it in the JSON-LD format. You might be asking yourself, now Jim's just come up with another acronym to confuse all of us, and it's really not the case. It's really quite different. JSON is a simpler way to write code, and in fact, it's easier to read the code. Most people, just the layman, can actually read the code of what a JSON, something that's coded in JSON-LD, it means. And it's pretty concise, and it's pretty clear, and it should be used. It loads much more quickly, and it seems to be very responsive and get things done. I think there were some limitations on size that I've heard about recently, but as far as getting it done, JSON is a nice, clean language that can get it to play, get it to start on time, get it to do what it's supposed to do. And so don't discount JSON. You can discount the guy that used to work for me, but don't discount JSON as a spelling platform. The number 5 category is one that I enjoy. Use the video thumbnail as the opening graph image. And so you can see that this person, whoever she is, and I saw the graphic and grabbed it, but she's has several compelling things going on. Then she's taken the words and truncating them after maybe 2 sentences, and always providing something very provocative. Add text, be interactive, a brand new view, all of these things. She's thought this through and created a whole campaign, and that's something you should do too. I don't want to stray too far away, but Boyd's got a great tool called the social media portal engine, and with that engine you can create a campaign that's a week long, a month long, however long you would like it to be, and just have them all set in there as something that's pre-programmed, and they just run, and it's the beauty of the whole program. In an afternoon you can set a whole month's worth of social media posts. So look into that or ask Boyd about that. And number 6 is a lot of people that do videos, and I tend to watch videos that are maybe more a guy in the shop, fixing a lawnmower blade or something, and the videos often drag, to be quite honest, and they don't get to the point. They don't, tell you what you need to know. You have to fast forward through them to get them all. And don't create video with no content. If you have to stick filler content in there, don't do it, because you're better off to make the video shorter and have them consume that information than try and fill it with a bunch of hoo-ha and make it longer than it really needs to be. So make sure they fix that. Oops. 7, the beautiful design, and be consistent with your thumbnails. I actually thought about using this for that slide because the thumbnails are so gorgeous. They're so perfect. They're all track on, but this is the one we ended up with. And on the next category, we want beautifully designed and consistent thumbnails and click-worthy titles. A click-worthy title is somebody that makes them want to follow that link to your website or wherever you're playing. The mechanics of it should be, hopefully you're playing them from a Google account, and that will help speed up the videos immeasurably. I've got a client that was using a rather large scale video and as its opening page. And we were able to trim that down with a program called Tiny PNG, and we were able to crunch that down to about half of what it was running at before. So it was 12 seconds down to maybe 5 or 6 seconds. And then we did one more thing to it and got it down to under 12 seconds. So right now his video is loading in 12 seconds, which still isn't quite the kind of speed that you want for first page, but he's thinking he's there right now. But it should take a normal video 8-10 seconds to load on YouTube, but by all means, if you can get it to load quicker, then more power to you. Take those little nuggets out of the way and make them work. The last thing are a couple things. Our content needs to meet the search demand. So if you're searching for something very specific, don't put in titles that are going to make your video be something that it's not. And when I say that, you might have a class on how to be a Shakespearean type of actor. Well, that's what your headline should say. That's what your title tag should say. That's what you should say, is that you're teaching people to be a thespian writer. But you don't want to be in a play and have the elephant leave a treat for you that you can slip on in the middle of the play. So there's a lot of different ways to make these videos pop, and I can go through them again real quick. But I think that, you know, if you took the 10 down of the list of the last 10, not the first 30, then I think you would be much, much happier with that. And as always, I'm giving away a free present today. Your SEO in 360, you have a one-time fee of $597, but right now we'll cut that down to $297 for a lifetime subscription. This is the SEO in 360s, where we have all of our books, all of our things, how to write content, and don't say giggle. There's a guy over here trying to make me giggle. So, at any rate, the lifetime value is for $297, and that's for all of the apps. That's all of the support. There's 9 ebooks, and we're adding new apps all the time. You can access this comment at SEO in 360, where you'll see all about everything, how to rank your site in 360. We designed it, Boyd and I designed it so that it would be a resource for you guys to go to. And if you need more information about links, there's a quick ebook on links. If you want there to be a quick resource on how to get links, or how to write good content, or how to write blogs, all of that information is on there, and you can go to SEO in 360. They're very affordable. I don't think any of the books are over about 30, 32 bucks. And they go down to a couple of them, I think, on there are right there for $1. And then, of course, there's services. The services would be link building, would be kind of up my alley, my forte. And things that Boyd would do would be help with your social media management and all of those types of things. So feel free to check out SEO in 360 and buy some books. This is a new slide that I've started to use just this season. I'm not in love with yet, but I think it gets the point across. And it's drop by drop, water, and builds into wave by wave. And you're able to go from this crystalline dandelion leaf to having the ability or the wherewithal to dig out a oceanside cave. So water never really sleeps. And I think that you should think about that when you're doing your SEO. It's not any one thing of all the things that we're capable of doing. It's just doing the right ones at the right time. So think that through a little tiny bit. I want to thank you for your time today. That was my presentation, and I want you all to live, work, and create great things on the internet.
Does anyone have any questions for Jim while we have him here? If you do, put them into the chat or the Q&A, and I'll be glad to ask him. Any questions? Going once, going twice. Short and sweet. Well, for us.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Next week, I'm going to be talking about YouTube specifically, how to build a stronger following on YouTube, and then how to use it to get more traffic to your website as well. So we'll be so it's kind of going along with videos again, but it'll all be about optimizing for YouTube. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, and don't forget our podcasts on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yep.
They're released about 10:30 on each of those respective days. The first is marketing tips. The next one will be how to take your business to the next level. And on Fridays, we always talk to newbies, which they tend to come up with some very exciting comments, and we love hearing from them.
And then we also do have our conference coming up on Friday, which is the Sales and Marketing Conference with 7 presenters that are going to be giving you information about how to get sales and marketing to work better for you. And we have some great people lined up. They're from all over the country. So we have 2 or 3, 4 of them from here, and then we have 3 or 4 outside of here. So come see that. You're going to love that. So go to bpmedia.com and then go to the seminars, and that will get you to the login page. And I'm actually just changing it right now, so it'll actually go to the web page that helps you, gives you more information as well. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.